What is Montessori education? That is a great big question. A great starting point to understand what it is to look at Maria Montessori's life. She was an extraordinary woman and she manifested so much determination and perseverance in her life that she really acts as a great example for us. She really dove deep into understanding what it would take to bring more peace on earth. And she asked us to look at where she was pointing. And she was pointing to the children. Children are our hope. And warning, this is not a thorough historical video about her life. I just wanted to give you an overview so you get an idea of her life and her impact. Maria Montessori was born in Italy in 1870. And imagine this, it's the late 1800s and she has an interest for science and math. She would like to become initially an engineer and this transformed into her wanting to become a doctor. But this was a men's world, the university studies. But she got in and it was a very hostile environment. She was not wanted there. And she thought about stopping several times. But one day, an event happened where she was walking on the street and she saw a poor, destitute child without shoes. And this child was holding a paper and was very captivated by it. And he was probably not able to read, but still he was interested in trying to understand what was in front of him. And that was what I think was a pivotal moment in her life, because she could see the mind, the human mind, having such an curiosity and an interest in understanding and discovering. So she thought that we must, as humans, have a mission that perhaps we're not aware of yet. So from that moment that had really an impact on her, she found the strength to continue her studies, and she was one of the first woman doctor in Italy. After that, she became a lecturer at the University of Rome. And at the same time, she was also a great defender of women's rights. Another cornerstone in her career is when she had the opportunity to work in the psychiatric sector. She worked in an asylum for children. She was profoundly touched when she got there to see the poor life conditions of the children. They had low affection and low stimulation. And so this really inspired her to get to understand them better, what they needed. So she observed children a lot, trying to understand what was interesting for them and what was stimulating to them. And at the same time, she studied the work of Jean Itard and Édouard Séguin, and that inspired her to use specific materials with the children. And she realized that they were making great progress when they were exposed to specific materials within an adapted environment. And she decided boldly to enter certain of her students into the Italian state examination. And some of her students succeeded better than average to these examinations. And this really sparked a great quest for Maria Montessori. She pondered, why would children with less mental faculties succeed to the same level or better than children with normal mental faculties? What is happening with the educational system? So that really inspired her to dedicate her life, energy, and work to the educational system. Yay! So then she went on to study anthropology as well as continuing her studies of the child development, and she became a professor. She became a professor. And in 1907, she had an opportunity to go work in San Lorenzo in Italy, which was a poor area. And there was an issue happening where when parents were off to work, the young children that were not yet in school were left to themselves, and this was leading to problems. So Maria was assigned to take care of them. So that is when the first Casa dei Bambini, children's house, was created. And she continued to study the children and to observe them a lot. And obviously she used her scientific lens. And she realized that the children are not learning the way that we used to think they are learning. They are not empty vessels that need to be filled, but they are really gaining a lot from engaging in their own explorations. They learn a lot from their own activities where they are able to discover and where they have the capacity to move. So what do? She changed the environment the children were in. So she made sure the environment was having child-sized furniture. There was low shelvings where the children were able to access the material and the toys. She made sure there was some rugs on the floor. And she also discovered that there were some specific human tendencies that were universal, as well as sensitive period where the children were really attracted to specific thing. She realized that they had a strong desire for order and that they were caring for themselves and for others. They had a strong sense for dignity. And she showed the children the sandpaper letters and realized that they taught themselves how to read and how to write. This whole process led her to write the Montessori method. And it was translated in English in 1912. And from there, it had a global impact and attracted a lot of interests, and a lot of teacher training started to happen, as well as the opening of many schools. Maria Montessori went through 2 world wars, and her approach was to help human beings to become confident and free thinkers. So it did not do so well with the fascist parties at that time of Mussolini and Hitler. So a lot of her work has been destroyed. Some of her books were burned on the public space and schools were closed. And she met extreme violence firsthand, and that really grew her confidence that we can have hope in world peace through our children and through education. She persevered and kept pointing to the child that is a way to world peace, to a peace revolution. And she returned to Germany at age 75 to help refresh the Montessori movement and open more schools. And fast forward to today, there is over 22,000 Montessori schools in the world. She was nominated 3 times for a Nobel Prize. And in 1952, at age 82, she died in the Netherlands as she was planning a trip to work and travel in Africa. I am feeling so privileged to have received teacher training from AMI, which is Association Montessori International, that was founded by Maria Montessori, which ensures that we honor the authentic approach to learning that she had in her mind on how to support world peace. I really believe that what we instill in our children early on can contribute to more peace and more love and more compassion in this world, and that we can help create humans that are more confident, that are more activists and free thinkers, and that think outside the box. I hope this gave you a great overview and that it was inspiring, and I look forward to continuing our learning of what Montessori education is together. Feel free to write any questions you have down below, and may you be well.